podcast, Necessary Knowledge and Nonsense. I'm Caleb. Got JB over here to my right. Fair Conscious. And we have the GOAT, journal historian, aka the Human Encyclopedia, and that is the great Professor Chris Dane.
AKA Snoop Dogg's doppelganger.
Ooh, his cousin. His Facebook profile.
Surprisingly, he's thought that many times. So.
And his pops did too. His dad is hilarious.
This man casually dropped that he met Snoop Dogg, the dog father.
Sprinkle right there.
Times.
Put that knowledge. So,
funny guy.
With all that being said, Professor, we are on our phones all the time. You are. It's part of your job. And we've been seeing Joe Budden and Migos beefing right now. How do you feel about these series of events that's recently trespassed?
If there was anything that was any more of a reflection on the current state of hip-hop, it would have to be this. I mean, we have a very big problem, and this is even when I was a kid. There's a lot of ageism in hip-hop. And you just have a lot of guys who may have done certain things at certain points. It's hard to adapt to change and to see something that's completely polar to what they might have contributed to the culture. Now, I will be the first one to tell you, I'm a huge Southern hip hop fan. My master's thesis was written on it. I've interviewed a lot of the artists from the subgenre, but I just think it's interesting. You know, when you look at someone like Joe Budden, who had, a memorable single, like I said, the difference between a memorable single and a hit single are not the same thing.
Right.
So he definitely had a memorable single that did its thing in the early 2000s and, made a couple of cameos and now on, Love and Hip Hop and doing whatever he's doing on Complex. But these guys, they're younger. They have a totally different sound in the game now, and they're monetizing it, obviously, but they're generating a lot of fanfare from it. I think it's important, especially in hip-hop, you have to keep the culture going forward, and we should be a little bit more supportive of any and everyone who's doing anything to keep the culture flowing. You have to remember, this culture is barely 40-something years old, and they've always thought that hip-hop was going to virtually die. And time again, we keep showing and proving that that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I think in a situation like this, where you have someone who's been very vocal about, the new wave of younger hip hop artists coming in and doing what they're doing, like he's been very blatant about, really not feeling what a Lil Yachty is doing and what Migos are actually doing. I think it's key for these guys to find their voice, whether we all like it or not, and everyone will admit Bad and Bougie was a high record. It's definitely high record.
It showed at the BET Awards.
Yeah.
I never heard the whole song.
but and it's no different than me actually being in the classroom teaching. It gets to a point where culture has to help to reinvigorate itself, and you also have to kind of be a mentor for people. I think the biggest thing is there's no open dialogue and there's no conversation being had. Nobody wants to listen to anybody.
Right.
So it has to be a situation where if you really are a fan of the music and you're a fan of the culture, be willing to sit down and listen to these younger guys and get a good sense of what's the hottest mixtape or who's the hottest artist. Why do you guys listen to this music?
Don't you think?
What keeps you drawn to it? But we also have to be guys that let you know why we listen to certain things and really be able to try to draw a certain connection to it. It's just a matter of us really being able to listen to each other and get a better sense of, kind of meeting each other halfway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think there's a mutual respect. I feel like they don't respect what Joe did and Joe doesn't respect what they're doing. So it's kind of like when you go in an interview, there's like this established animosity towards both angles.
Yeah.
So I feel like Joe walking out is just like a frustration, like, I feel like, in my opinion, I think he's more talented than them, and they're getting bigger places. Bro. I'm not lying.
You just said that Joe Budden is more talented.
As a hip hop, do they produce their own records, bro? Like are they behind the boards?
Some, yes, but not all. But
that's what I'm saying.
At the same time, that's kind of hard to
say. At the end of the day, it's like it's all about their pen, and Joe has a better pen than them.
Well,
I see what you're saying.
And here's the other thing too.
But that's where it changes.
When we start looking at standards and we start looking at criteria.
Exactly.
We have to really establish, and it changes a lot. Yeah. And we each, as avid fans and as listeners and even as critics of the music, we each have our own standard. So for me, I'm very complex. I love good lyrics. I love good stories. I like stuff that's very colorful. But when I'm trying to turn up, I don't want to hear, a verse in the Bible, and I don't want to hear a conscious stanza.
He needs that Jeffrey.
But how often are people turning up? Like Vincent, he don't turn off Young Thug. But it's like when I'm at home and 3 in the morning, I'm listening to Aquemini because I need some liberation in my life.
Okay.
I need Erykah Badu, I need
Right.
CeeLo, I need Outkast.
Okay.
Like, that's a spirit, it's feeding my spirit.
Well,
Bro.
at 3 in the morning,
Yes.
at 3 in the morning, I'm listening to the Songstress by Anita Baker, or I'm listening to, you know, Little Broken Hearts by Norah Jones,
Right.
or A Love Supreme by John Coltrane, or Stronger Than Pride by Sade. This is one of those things where I think you have to really establish what your mood is. And we have a lot, and I think we have to learn to really embrace diversity a little bit more.
Facts.
Just as much as I want to hear Migos and some of the more edgier stuff that they discuss, I actually appreciate Lil Yachty just being clean and really just embracing being a kid. I mean, it may not necessarily have the same delivery and the same, you know, iambic pentameter, so to speak, or the same level of
Look that word up whenever you get the
yeah,
chance.
you know, but but that's the beauty of what hip hop has been able to do. We just remember before we got on tape, we talked about License to Ill. You know, came out in 1986. It was one of the
Beastie
first.
Boys, if y'all don't know.
Yeah, one of the first records to go to #1 on the Billboard 200. And the biggest thing for me was they were being themselves. They were just regular middle-class white kids, you know, with leather jackets, drinking beer, and they put it over a Rick Rubin set of beats. That's cool to me. No different than what MC Hammer was doing in the early 90s, where he had a big band and he had a bunch of dancers, and it was like going...
He had the clothes, too.
Yeah, he had the parachute pants and the jackets, and it was literally like going to watch James Brown at the Apollo in the 1960s.
So my thing about that is, so you were like, I mean, the 80s is a little too old, but like back then, like when Vanilla Ice had Ice Ice Baby, like
Appropriation to it.
now you got the number. I'm not even talking about that.
Yeah.
You got the hot record, right?
Yeah.
So Migos had a hot record.
Right.
But I'm saying, how long did that run last? Because Vanilla Ice was never taken seriously.
It's not just one record though. Like their album, previous works, it's been dope.
And then you
Do they have any classic albums? I don't know, because I haven't.
they've only had 2 albums.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So like, it's hard to say classic.
Culture is literally their second studio release. But,
Yeah.
But when this era that we're in now, we are not an album-oriented market.
It's mixtapes and singles.
It's very much mixtapes and singles, and it's very much a la carte. But the thing now is a lot of these artists, whether it's Future or whether it's Young Thug or whether it's any other artist, or even somebody like a 21 Savage, for example, these guys are hard workers.
Sure.
And they're hustlers.
Yeah.
So when you can combine the two worlds together, they're really just about just being out front and getting that paper at the end of the day. If you can make your money and make it work for you, so be it.
Right.
Make the money.
See, are they hard workers or are they smart workers? Because I feel like, all right, so I feel like Nas, people who take time to make their music, they're selling coke, right? And they're selling it from the bottom, so you know it's a stronger carbonation.
Right.
But like, I feel like Migos and everybody else, they're in the restaurant, you got water and carbonated mixed together, so it don't taste as good to me.
Sure.
I mean, some people like that better, but
Great
I like
analogy, bro.
but I like the stronger taste. So
It's a question of taste. You
are
just said it.
they working harder or are they just like working smarter? Because I feel like Nas works. I feel like Nas is sitting there for hours like crafting the verse. I feel like Migos is like,
I like that beat.
Three words ad lib. Three words ad lib.
Just with that hands, that's it. Yeah.
Is that hard work?
But again, that goes back to what hip hop represents for people. For some of us, it really is a culture that defines who we are as people.
True.
For another culture, that may just be a business. It's an opportunity for you to get a career. And in other cases, it's a great style of music. It's a great style of art. It's a great language. It's a way we address political issues. I think it really depends on what the person really decides to do. I think it's totally fine if you have artists that really are good, but they want to get money or they want to get wealthy. That's okay. It's okay to definitely want to do it for the culture, or you want to do it because you have a passion for it. That's great. Someone like Nas, for example, who has a lot of loaded lyricism, but has a really, really stellar delivery. He's one of my favorites too. This is someone who literally pride himself on being a part of the culture.
Yeah.
But when you look at someone like Amigos, for example, this is a totally different phase that we're in. First of all, we're a little bit more hyper visual. We're all on our Instagrams. We're looking at GIFs and memes constantly. So when you can get to a point where literally all you have to do is literally show your face in a Facebook comment and it's a meme, but you can use that to drive your single and you're getting 300 million streams on YouTube or on any other platform that you have, so be it. Make it work for you. You know, but I just think we have to really be very clear in what does that criteria look like and what do we want our hip-hop to be. And for us, because we're so dynamic as a culture and as a group, that's going to vary. And I think that's totally fine if someone wants to be a little bit more looser with the music and they want to make party records. You know, that was one of the issues that was in All Eyes on Me I thought was cool too. I think you should be just as serious, but you should also have fun with the music, and I don't want us to get away from the fun too, because we are a fun group of people. We should have moments where we're very dynamic and people can see, you know, we can be very conscious when we have to be. But when it's time to go to the club, or we trying to have a block party, because remember, hip hop was party music, and it was also very community oriented too.
No doubt.
So you have to be willing to still strike balance with it. Just as much as we need a Public Enemy and an X-Clan and what Outkast and Goody were doing in the 90s, we need, you know, the Compton's Most Wanted. We need the NWAs. We need the Migos. We need Tribe Called Quest. We need all this stuff because they make the culture way more robust.
I hate to live in the past that I never lived, the 90s, but I feel like in the 90s you had that. I feel like you had like the introspective early Tupac, and you had like the party Biggie, and you had Ice Cube like dropping records, and you had like both sides of it, and they were both popular and they were both like profiting off their art.
Right.
I feel like now it's just that one side. It's just
trap music.
Yeah, it's just
No lyrics.
Like Talib Kweli has to go overseas to make one, and I feel like he's too talented to have to do that.
Well, again, you have to look at, one of the things I talk about when I teach this music journalism course, it's all about really looking at the full scope of how the industry how it looks, and you have to look at the artist too. One of the reasons why Beyonce is as big as she is, Beyonce has a very dynamic team behind her. Rihanna, same thing, very dynamic team. If these guys can't build a good infrastructure with their brand to really carry their message, then of course they're not going to sell as many records. They can't book a show or whatever the case may be. You know, it's all about really getting the best and the brightest to really push whatever your movement is going to be. And to answer the other response about, you know, being in the 80s and the 90s and having that complexity and diversity, you have to think. A lot of our streaming platforms should really function like going to record retailers. Every time I'm online, I literally find a new artist, or as a journalist, I get calls all the time to check out a new product from record companies or different platforms, things of that nature. So one of the people that I really look to right now, I love Dave East's music. I think he's one of the most talented MCs right now. He's an artist representing the East Coast.
Harlem too.
Yeah. So you know you have, and Joey Badass. Joey Badass has one of the best albums I've heard.
That song, I got the name of it. It was like Made in America, like how he just like went in talking about like organ harvesting.
The full album is actually a really solid. It's so deep. It's a very solid.
You think that was better than 1999? You think that was better than 1999? His first.
See, first I thought you were talking about the Prince and the Revolution record.
No,
hey, Professor.
Yeah, you gotta talk about Prince.
Yeah, look. After you answered Josh's answer, his question on that.
But I definitely think, though, you have to really look at all of your streaming accounts as going to the record retailers, sifting through, you know, Kai Tranda. That guy is really good. You know, the internet is one of the dopest bands.
I love the internet
right now. Sid's album was really good.
Yeah, SZA's was good.
SZA's record is really great. You know, so you have a lot of range of artists. I just think you guys just have to do a better job at being able to share these differences with your friends, and that kind of drowns out a lot of the monotony the more we connect with people and really try to. No, you have to.
I feel like though, because they've become so popular now, if kids, you know, talk about like the internet, Davies, Joey Badass, that they'll think, well, that's not the mainstream tone right now. So then I'm trying to fit in, and when you go on Instagram, Twitter, all you see is the memes of Migos. All you see is posts by 21 Savage. So if you just see this programming constantly, then you think that you have to just like assimilate yourself into that.
It's very ubiquitous.
Exactly.
But I also think too, you know, you guys being voices in this space now, you have an opportunity to be the influencer. So a great deal of your work is literally going to be really continuously really reinventing the narrative. Like, you kind of really need to stay on the cutting edge more than anything.
Right.
You have to be the person to go out there and really seek on YouTube like what's hot.
Yeah.
You have to go out there and really listen for new records. It's the same thing with television programming now. You don't have to sit down and watch, you know,
you can go on Netflix,
cable.
Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have apps.
Yeah, you know, and even people are coming up on YouTube with very interesting web shows.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of your producers and web show developers now on major television, they have YouTube channels, and they're helping.
Breakfast Club, a radio station, posts most of their information stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, you know, Giants, a show written and directed and starring James Bland, which is on Issa Rae's YouTube channel. You know, so you have a lot of variety out here. I just think a lot of people are just lazy and they don't want to really get out there and really dig for it.
Right.
It's fun right now. The internet is such a big playground.
Yes.
Right now, I can't fathom why a lot of people don't have something that they really enjoy, or something that really feeds their ego, or something that really kind of caters to their intellectual capacity.
Because some people are Joe Budden and don't want to be happy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you want to allow yourself to be miserable in this day and age, you have fun with that. I just think there's a whole lot of stuff to be discovered. It's like literally a big treasure hunt or a big scavenger hunt, being online and just listening to stuff. I can't tell you how many good albums that I listen to right now that I'm really enjoying. And just a lot of cool artists that are really doing really great stuff. Lizzo, a plus-size black chick that signed that.
Yes,
you know,
she's pretty dope.
Who was just in Atlanta last weekend.
She was on Viceland.
Amazing performer.
Right.
I mean, you have, you know, stuff, it's all kind of crazy stuff just coming at you these days. You have, oh my gosh, I wish J. David would come with another record because I love them. Then you have, you know, groups like Fitz and the Tantrums who've been around for a while, but there's another Tank. The Tank, what's the guy, the Tank and something?
Tank.
They have like a Tiny Desk concert. It's jogging my memory right now. They're actually gonna be at One Music Fest this year.
Okay.
But you know, you have a lot of really cool bands starting to come back, and they're really playing a lot of dynamic styles of music, and they're having a ball.
Yeah, that's dope.
Doing this stuff, you know. Anytime you have people like Gucci Mane and Zaytoven doing Tiny Desk concerts on NPR, you know we are in for some really interesting stuff now musically. And folks are really realizing that they really have to reshape and restructure their sound too.
Professor, shout out to my mom, Patricia Smith. She is the world's biggest Prince fan. To me, I just found it
makes me smile. Right?
Exactly. So for my mother, could you please, and for all the beautiful women out there that love Prince, guys as well, could you just go in on all the knowledge that you have on Prince? And first off, I remember like on the way here, you were saying like with like Lil Yachty, people like those people, they would just put themselves out there and have that special connection with their fans.
Sure.
And with Prince being ahead of his time, you told me, and I had no idea of this, he was already putting his work online.
Yes.
In the mid-90s.
Oh yeah, so, you know, everyone kind of has the idea based on his contracts with Warner Brothers and how basically they tried to take his masters from him to a point where he had to physically change his name so that he could keep recording and literally have some sort of gratification from his intellectual property. You know, in the mid-90s, you literally looking at, you know, the internet revolution. And that was literally like the days of Netscape and dial-up and all that stuff. That's like way before your years, but...
We know dial-up.
But yeah,
you know,
so...
you call, you can't...
Yes. So it got to a point where, you know, these guys were really championing what it could mean to really go straight to the consumer and really utilizing the digital ecosystem to really get their product out. David Bowie was among the first rock musicians to really do this, but then you also had Prince, who really realized that it was a totally new level of technological determinism with the web. So he created this platform in the mid-90s called the MPG Music Club. And it's no different than, you know, Tidal or Spotify or anything like that, where you pay a subscription service.
So he did this in the early 90s.
Yes.
Did it launch, or was it just an idea?
It launched.
Okay.
And I think it's actually still going on to this day with his estate. But long story short, you know, you pay a subscription and you get access to a lot of original music.
Wow.
He started to release a lot of his full-length projects through the MPG Music Club. And they had opportunities for you to also purchase merchandise and memorabilia, things of that nature. He also dropped, you know, exclusive video content, I think, at one point. And, you know, when he did, like, hit and run shows in certain markets throughout the world and in the United States, you had access to those shows.
Okay.
So you had the opportunity to really be able to see him in a totally different element. But when we start talking about, and one of the words that you'll hear now because of this whole tech outspring is, you know, disruption and innovation. So when you look at disruption and innovation in the music business and in pop culture, and especially in the type of streaming music climate that we're in now, he was definitely among the first to really do that, and to really do it in such a way where it proved to be profitable, but it really sustained his audience. Because think about it, even before he passed in 2016, you could go to a show and his shows were very diverse in terms of ethnicity. It was very diverse in terms of age. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to kids that are really young now and their parents took them to see Prince. And they didn't understand, you know, how big that was at the time, but in retrospect, you know, looking at his catalog and what he contributed to the landscape of pop music, that's a big deal. To go and see someone who literally could play virtually every style of music and play well over 20 instruments and, you know, won Golden Globes, won Academy Awards, won Grammys, you know, still has music license to this day. You know, even though he's not with us, the guy has literally been able to manipulate so many different things for himself to a point where he became one of the most thought-provoking and most original creators to ever span any form of the humanities, music, whatever you call it. So just in looking at that, when you look at, you know, the whole digital climate and kind of what it's doing, I thought it was cool to kind of revisit that time because no one would never know unless you tell the story. Hence another reason why it's good for journalists to still be out here and journalists of color to still be out here, because those types of things are history. And it gets to a point where when you look at those moments, it really allows you to really look at people who look like you in a certain light and look at them in a different light too. So I think it's always good to look at people in totally different ways and really show that we're very complex and we're very dynamic.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What's up, good people?
Wait. How come you always get to talk first?
Yeah, Josh, you know, speaking on that, I was about to ask you, bro, take the reins, because I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
Closing out, we had the best episode of all time right here.
Like, Josh,
man, Caleb Smith, Professor Daniel, Josh B right here. Thank you.
Take it over, Josh. Take it over, Josh.
YouTube channel. I want y'all to comment. I need feedback. We need to know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, so we can make this the best show possible for y'all.
No, Josh.
I want to shout out my mom. You know what I'm saying?
I want to shout out Jocelyn.
I'm playing. He has a girlfriend, so he got.
Shout out to Sid. Love my life though, for real.
Any shout outs you got?
Too many. I mean, definitely a shout out to Georgia State University's Department of Communication. I mean, very supportive, very good bunch of students, very good team over there. I mean, had I not been there, I wouldn't have met these guys and even be in front of you. I mean,
We changed his life.
We changed the game.
Yeah, so you know, thank you to any editor, any publicist, any artist management, you know, anyone that I've ever worked with over the last 12, 13 years. These guys have really made this journey a very fascinating one for me. And shout out to my students too. I mean, I know I don't always have like the best suggestions and you might not necessarily agree with everything that I give you, but I think it's important to definitely take it for what it is and utilize it for what you're going to use it for and really push yourself. So you guys motivate me and you guys expose me to a lot of stuff. So definitely shout out to all my students too, fall and spring semester, and all my technical students that's coming too. You guys are great.
Thank you, Professor. Yeah.
Shout out to Ben.
Yeah, shout out to Ben Abrams. Yeah.
It makes everything here possible. Shout out to Vincent for being here for no reason whatsoever.
Pressing pause and play for us, though, Josh. Thank you, BD. Hey, stand up so everybody can see you, man. Stand up. Yeah.
He needs a haircut. You take earrings out. You can't get a job like that. Your jeans are ripped.
Negroes. Rockstar skinnies, baby. Let them know, Vincent. Let them know. Rockstar skinnies, bro. But yeah, Professor, for all the people, you know, that's trying to reach you out there, where can they find you?
Oh yeah, so you find me on Facebook. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Christopher A. Daniel. There's no S on that, guys.
Yeah.
And if you want to find me on Twitter, you can definitely find me at Journalistorian. So you can
That's the best username ever.
Yeah, so just just spell out the word journalist and follow it with ORIAN, and you know, hit me up, shoot me a note. I respond. You know, I'm looking forward to your feedback. So definitely check me out. You know, let's make some magic happen. Let's make history.
Thank you.
You can find me at Shamrock Park playing basketball.
Yeah, hey, for real though, guys. Like, if you guys love playing basketball or football or, well, really just basketball, let us know. We will beat you guys on everything. Me, Josh, and Vincent.
I just love tacos, so any place with good tacos, you can definitely find me.
Hip hop trivia too, though.
Yeah.
Hip hop trivia.
Oh yeah, shout out to Maurice Garland, Brandon Jacoby Peters, all my guys, you know, curators of hip hop trivia, legendary journalists.
All
Shout
the
out
attractive
to
girls
these
that
guys.
walk through there.
Yeah, definitely shout out to the homies, man. DJ Do Say the Great, you know, all those guys on Wednesday nights. If you're not doing anything, definitely come to Slice Piedmont every Wednesday.
We're what, 5-6 time champions though?
Like, we're the team. Intelligence is the team to beat.
We're like 5-6 time champions. He's like 20 times.
So that's it, man. So thank you guys once more. We love you. Subscribe, get the views up, share it with your mom, loved ones, and we got you. Voices out of you. Love. Thank you. Let's say knowledge and nonsense.
All right.